Good morning, traders. Today is Tuesday, April 19th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. Okay. Well, let's take a second to talk about yesterday and what happened in the market yesterday. So yesterday we were flirting with the lower end of a balance area, which I will zoom out and show in just a moment. But that was really important. What a balancing area is for the market, when the market is bouncing around in a range, is that it is trying to decide if it wants to go higher or lower. Okay, so every time it tries to break out one direction or another and it fails to break out, that is a sign that the market hasn't made a decision yet, that it's ready to go lower, and that increases the odds that as it gets back up into balance, it's going to rotate to the opposite end to essentially give the buyers a chance to try to break out to the upside. And then if they can't do it, it comes back down again. That's a normal behavior that you would expect to see around a balance area high and low, okay? So what happened yesterday was the day opened below, pushed up into balance, and then created a poor high. That gave us really high probability that the market was going to try to repair that at some point. And so that meant the market should have been able to stay inside the balance area. But instead, the push away from the poor high caused us to sell off all the way down here into the G period. Okay? Now the low in the G period was weak, because it was exactly to the tick at a previous week reference from from last month. So that was weird as well. And then the market immediately turned around, went straight back up to repair that poor high it had left behind, created another one, and then immediately traded back down. So what does this tell me? This tells me the market has no leadership. Okay? This is not bigger players positioning themselves for what they think is going to happen in the future. This yesterday was all just short-term traders and bots picking each other's pockets, guessing where the market was going to go, and there was no real leadership. So it is a sign of uncertainty. So coming into this morning, I'm going to be a lot more cautious about entering a trade today, as I don't feel the market has confidence one way or another. And so just like yesterday, any move could be completely retraced instantly because it's just short-term traders. Okay, so market is open. We are opening below that balance area. We're opening inside the previous day's range, so we're expecting chop. The first thing I'm going to watch is this area right here around the 4,400 level. That is where the overnight spent the most time and brought in the most volume. So we would expect that to act as resistance as we push up into it. But there are a lot of weak references above, right? So the more weak references there are, the higher the probability that at least the first of them will be repaired. They're like little magnets, right? And the more and more magnets that you have, the stronger that magnetic pull is. So if the market pushes its way up in the morning chop to that 4,400 area and it can't get through there, that to me will be a very important signal of bearishness. Okay, if we get resistance in here and the market can't get up to repair the weakness from yesterday, that will be a sign it wants to break out to the downside. So that is going to be the first thing that I am watching there. And then the other thing I'm watching is this balance area low. It's not an exact level. You could pretty much call it Thursday's low from last week. If the market gets below there and then comes back up and finds resistance and can't get back up into that balance, that would also be shortable for me for continuation to the downside. Okay. If we do repair these weak references, if the market is able to get through this resistance at 4,400, then I would look for continuation higher. I would monitor for continuation because we'd be back in balance. But for the first, half an hour of the day here, we're just expecting chop. We're just expecting the market to kind of bounce up and down and try to figure out which way it wants to go. Okay. So once again, that balance area looks like this right here. So if we are able to get back up and repair these weak references from yesterday, it increases the odds that we're heading to that opposite end of balance. But as long as we're dancing around down here, it's just completely uncertain until we break one way or another. So very cautious to enter a trade today. as the whipsaw will be in full effect. If you have not yet, please smash that like button. Give me that little thumbs up. Only got 30 of them yesterday, so I have a feeling we're going to have a very low count of viewers today as a result. So please smash that like to help me out. I sure would appreciate it. Ode to Chop. Good morning, Cyrus. Good to see you. Scooball is here. Welcome. David Glass in the house. I am feeling a little better. I'm not, completely healed yet, but I do feel better. A lot more energy today, so that's nice. Nicholas, good morning to you. Rev, welcome. Diego in the house. T-Bay with us once again. Amir is here. Mick Stockster, hello to you. Philip is here. Good morning. Jack, Jose, and Hustler Forever. Good to see you. J Trader in the house. Dean back with us. What's up? The sky. Yuck, 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 yuck. All right, so now let's look for resistance as the morning chop pushes up into this area where the overnight spent so much time and brought in some volume. Do the sellers start to pile on in there? Arthur, good morning to you. MW, good to see you. Phoenix, greetings. Arthur, why are markets so whipsawy all of a sudden? I mean, there's a war going on and inflation, and there's a lot of things that are making the market confused. It's something that Jim Dalton talks about quite a bit, which is this idea that you want to look for leadership in the market. And what that basically means is, oftentimes there's like a dominating force kind of controlling what the market is doing. You would consider that the bigger players. And so you want to try to go with whatever they're doing. If they're trending a certain direction, you want to go with the trend. If they're rotating, you want to rotate. But on a day like yesterday, there just was no leadership. It was just all short-term traders just picking each other's pockets, driving each other crazy. And my guess, some AI bots as well, having some fun. Generally, when the market is in a phase where it has no leadership, it takes either like a fundamental change, like some piece of news needs to come out, or like a break of a particular level. That's generally what causes leadership to step back in. Aviv, good morning to you. Trading Donkey, this is a big day in Market Town. Not sure what that means. Xavier, good morning to you. Nilesh, good evening to you. John, welcome back. Chief, good to see you. Andrew, all of the sudden, what? Yeah. Uh, oh, it's aliens, Donkey says. Simulation theory. What if like aliens came to planet Earth? They studied us. They saw that our stock market was an opportunity to gain wealth, to get us to give them our resources, our natural resources. So they have been implementing trades. The aliens have been implementing trades to gain wealth, to buy commodities, to take off planet in the future. I'm just saying it's possible. I'm just saying it's possible. Rocket, the Fed talking today at noon. Oh, thank you. Well, that could be the thing that triggers some leadership in the market. If the Fed says something. David V, good morning to you. Trading Donkey saying Netflix is reporting tonight. That'll set the tone for big tech earnings. Well, there you go. Yeah, earnings is another one. People might be waiting for earnings. So same thing on the NQ here. We're now pushing into support, which was that note of volume from yesterday. And the resistance will be the area where the market brought in all that time and put in all that volume in the overnight. So you're looking for support around 13,850s, basically where we are now, and resistance up at 13,960s. If we break the overnight low on the NQ, I would look for further downside continuation as a clear breakout of balance. So looking for support to step in here. Nilesh, isn't the S&P inventory short to talk short? I don't know what that means. The overnight inventory was neutral, right? They opened right here and they closed right here, so they really went nowhere. So when we opened today, the market was completely neutral. Dean, if we can't take out 43.99, look out below. Yeah, I think we'll definitely take out 99 in the chop. But if we can't repair those weak references from yesterday, then definitely look out below. Okay, so here we go. We're testing that resistance now. Okay, seems we have new buyers pushing their way through. So now what we're looking for is a repair of these weak references from yesterday. First one repaired. We're looking for the second. And then when they pull back down, do we now get support around the halfback? That would be bullish to see. Or, of course, if we poke above yesterday's high and then find support there, that would also be bullish. But I do think we'll have to retest the halfback. We also have a low volume node right here. I mean, it's not that low. I normally like to see at least 200 contracts, and that one's 193, so it's pretty close. But that slightly increases the odds. If we do repair the poor high, we'll need to pull back down for support. We're getting taper in exactly the same area we got it yesterday and exactly the same area we got it in the overnight. So we are running out of buyers up there. For those of you that are new to the profile, we look at the volume. This one over here is the volume profile, and you can see how it tapers off. There's less and less volume up here. Well, what did it do in the overnight in that same place? What did it do yesterday in that same place? So that is a sign that the market's not quite ready to go higher yet. Getting above there and coming back down and finding support would be bullish. All right, Dean, have a good day. All right, there's the repair, which is bullish. So now we're looking for support as a potential buy opportunity. And let's just walk through the steps that give us a bullish narrative right now. Value overlapping to higher, back inside the balance area, increasing the odds of a rotation to the opposite end of balance. We've got weak references above in need of repair. We've got the ticks above the zero line. All four of the internals are bullish. So I am bullish and looking to buy support. Probably in here around halfback, 43.96. I'm not going to put up the bullish banner, though, until I see the support there, because I don't trust this whipsaw market. They got to prove it to me for me to put money on the line. Okay, buyers holding for now. That's a little bit bullish. All right, they win. Built a support up at yesterday's high, which is also, that's even more bullish than pulling back down to halfback. So I now think we are heading up to repair the weak reference we have above us at 44.20. And it will likely be a slow grind through this balance area, but the target is the opposite end. Up at 44.50. Yesterday was a look below that failed, which increases the odds that we're heading to the opposite end. I wouldn't say this is a hold your trade all day kind of market. I would say this is a buy the dip, sell the rip kind of market. I think we're going to get a lot of chop on the way up. Speaking of which, another low volume node in need of backfilling. Can look for buyers there. Xavier, is it a poor high? You can't get a poor high in the A period because a poor high is when one of the TPOs from throughout the day time frame is one tick away from another. So you would need to at least print the D period before you could create a poor high. It may have been weak somewhere in there and I just didn't notice. But yeah, poor means two TPOs from the same day or a tick away from each other. Trading Donkey, I don't see this as bullish. Strange. Pushing above the previous day's high, pulling back down, finding support at the previous day's high, and then getting continuation at the bottom of a balance area? Okay, man. Ah, I see. Apple, Tesla. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at Nasdaq stocks. I know there's still a big piece of the ES as well, but there's a lot of stocks in the S&P 500. And someone's buying something. So as we work our way up to that weak reference up there at 44.20, remember, once it's repaired, the magnet turns off. The pull is gone. And so it would make sense for the market to then pull back down, looking for support once again. Okay, there's the repair of the week reference. McStockster, I tend to think we're about to see the high of the day and never get close as well. Just peaked out of the trend line on the daily chart, but I think it fails. But maybe it's going to be one of those sneaky melt up days. Yeah, I mean, I would vote sneaky melt up. Balance area, my friend. The highest probability, if you fail to break out on the downside of balance, is to head up to the upper end and try to break out there. But I do expect that there's going to be a lot of grind and chop to get there because there's a lot of resistance in here. But that is still the highest probability place it's going. And just for the record, it's not normally straight up. This is obviously short covering. Okay, the initial balance is now to the upside. That is a little bit bullish, as well as value being pulled higher is a little bit bullish as well. Looking for support. Craig H., I missed the move, waiting on an entry at the mid. Hard to know when to be patient or aggressive. Patient right now is the way to be. I love it. Wait for the confirmed support. Better to miss the trade than get in and get stopped out for a loss. I would say the volume is still very thin in here. So as soon as we run out of these shorts covering, a pullback should give us a chance to buy a dip. Greg, what was the 4420 reference? Well, I've deleted it now. I don't know. It was a weak reference from a previous day. It would have been the week K period high from the 14th because it was one tick from the F period high, or one TPO from the F period high. But who cares? Once it's repaired, it's gone. Gone, baby. That sucker's ancient history. Now we're focused on the momentum and the trend. Dean. Charles, that made me laugh. I have that effect on people sometimes. All right, market getting some resistance here. Did new buyers step in at these higher prices, keeping the ticks above the zero line? Yes, they do. Wow. Nora Auto Trader, good to see you. Welcome. Wow, I cannot believe that was the dip. It's crazy. Pump it. A lot of resistance in here if you look at the cumulative. We've put a ton of volume in here, so this should act as resistance, giving us a pullback. In here. John, seems like these days when the market goes in one direction, it's either straight up or straight down. Very little wiggle. Well, it depends. We still have grindy, slow melt days. We've had a bunch of those lately. Probably it feels like that it always moves straight just because it's so frustrating when it does if you're not in a trade. Dean, I am too sick to sing Going Off the Rails on a Crazy Train. That will sound so bad. McStockster says, I look forward to observing the behavior between 44.08 and 44.13. Looking for support around that overnight high? Not yet. We still got buyers. We still got FOMO. They have not run out just yet. We'll know they do when the ticks start to fall below the zero, but so far they're holding. It's also worth noting that we keep pulling the value area, the blue box, which represents 70% of the day's trade. We keep pulling that up with price. That is often a signal we haven't quite had enough excess to the upside yet. So it's interesting to note that we just continue to pull that value area. Okay, definitely looking for some resistance around 44.33. Buy the dips, sell the rips. Aviv, elongated profile, correct. A sign of a trend. We can also see it with the volume, right? The way we built a node of volume, pushed higher, built a node of volume, pushed higher, built a node of volume, and now we are pushing higher. That is a sign of a trend to the upside, as is the elongated profile. Wow, dude, no resistance? There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. Okay, so now we're looking for support in this node around 44.24. Jeremy, is this a pucker day, Charles? It was earlier. Now I definitely wait for a dip. I'd wait to see good, strong support. But yeah, moments ago when we were, I don't know if you guys heard me say it, I was like, oh my God, that was the dip? That was a pucker your butt trade because we were sitting right at the high and building support. But now I'd wait for that pullback. It can't go straight up forever. Okay, but now this might be a pucker your butt trade. No, I'd wait for the dip. Also, it's important to remember, guys, that this doesn't necessarily have to trend all day. Once we get to the opposite end of balance, they could just as easily look above and head right back down. They've done it over and over and over again. Okay, so now as the ticks are starting to push their way below the zero line, the way you can look for support is whatever price market starts to hit and it just keeps bouncing off that price over and over again, and then you see the ticks push their way back above the zero line, you know that's support. Well, that was quick. So this 25 area is looking very good for support right now. As soon as it got down there, it bounced a couple times, and then the ticks popped right back up above the zero. We got 101 people hanging out, only 69 likes. Let's see if we can get a few more thumbs up going before we print that C period. Okay, market clearly running out of steam here. At least the ES feels like it's running out of steam. NQ looks strong. All right, NQ pushing right up to resistance from the base of the single prints down on the 14th. That's at 14,102. So there should be some resistance in there. I'm looking for a pullback. Maybe around 14,040. Potential support. Yes, we're looking at that 25-26 area as potential support here. If that breaks, coming back down towards that half back, looking for support there. It's exactly as we would expect. It got resistance in that node, that large cumulative node. So we're going to need some strong buyers to step in here and push through that. All right, that was the dip. It's a trend day, my friends. Not officially yet. We got to get the C period above the B, but this feels like a trend day to me. We keep building volume, pushing higher, building volume, pushing higher. So if we can bust through this high, bust through this node on the cumulative, not a lot of resistance up to like 4444. That should be our next push. If the NQ breaks through 14,102, if it gets through the base of those single prints, I would say next resistance is up at like 14,150. Jason, yesterday kicked my butt, got sawed. Thankful for the good play-by-play today. Well, they made it easy today. Yesterday they made it really hard. But today they made it super easy. Right, it makes sense to those of you that are questioning this. Like yesterday, the reason I got so bullish first thing in the morning and got so confused when we pulled back down below the balance area is because this is what I was expecting. That's why it was so easy to call today. Because when you fail to break out to the downside on a balance area, it often causes you to head to the other end. That's what made yesterday so hard, was the fact that we spent the whole day dancing around that level. I was a day early. Xavier, there are more chances to break the initial balance high and trend higher. Yes, sir. 100%. At this point, it would be more bizarre if we didn't head up at some point. It doesn't have to be right now, but at some point today towards that 44.50 level to test it. All right, but now we got some single prints we left behind in the B period. Those are likely to need backfilling. And the fact that we just created a poor high could be the resistance, could be the push away we need to come back fill. So I will be looking for support around 44.2350 for continuation to the upside. Of course, if they immediately repair the poor high, that is a more bullish scenario, and we would also begin one time framing higher, which would be bullish as well. And we just pulled the value area to completely above yesterday's value, which is bullish as well. So there's no reason the market couldn't keep going, but it needs a pullback to bring in those stronger hands. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. With that, I shall bid you all farewell. Wish you the best of luck with the rest of your day. Like I said, to me, heading up to 44.50 at some point today seems reasonable. Once we get there, though, we could get resistance and start heading back down. So this is not a stay in the trade all day kind of market. It's a buy the dip, sell the rip, take your profits, look for your next entry kind of market. But it is bullish, that's for sure. All right, I shall see you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks a lot.